Welcome back to the Brighter Black Futures podcast. Season 2 is finally here. I'm so excited to be back. So thank you for joining me and watching today. This episode will just be me, but know that the rest of the season will be chock full of interviews with amazing guests and insightful commentary from them, and hopefully myself as well. And also hope we'll have a lot of fun together as we learn and grow in this space. So now it's time for the upliftment segment of the show. This is a segment where I share a quote that resonates with me or that I love or inspires me in hopes that it will do the same for you. And today I'm sharing a quote from Kerry Washington that I absolutely love. I just discovered a few days ago. Here it is. I bring something to the table as a woman. I bring something to the table as a woman of color. Now, I know that speaks to a very specific identity that may not be applicable to everybody watching the show, but what I love about this quote, what really deeply resonates with it for me, is the fact that she's celebrating how the what of who she is, which we're often told by mainstream culture, that doesn't matter. Your identity doesn't matter. It's how you show up in the world and what you do. But I firmly believe that your social location, the what of who you are, how you look, the family you come from, your histories, etc., influence how you show up in the world and what you can contribute. And I love that Carrie is celebrating her position as a Black woman and how it informs what she does in the world. And I think we all should do that, despite what the naysayer said. So whether or not you happen to be Black or a woman, whatever your social identity is and social location is, you can celebrate how that informs how you contribute and give back and show up in the world and your perspectives even. So I think that's really important. And that's why I shared that quote. And I hope, based on what I shared just now about what makes it resonate with me or why I like that quote, you got something out of it too. And now it's time for the Black History moment. And the moment that I want to share today is something that happened very recently on August 5th, 2024. And that was the moment at the Olympics when we saw an all Black podium in gymnastics for the first time ever. Of course, there's been some controversy since, and one of the people who were on that podium lost their medal. More on that in a minute. But the fact that we got to see that, and it was such a historic moment. And I can't imagine, especially for young girls who are in gymnastics, how young Black girls who are in gymnastics, how powerful that moment was and how beautiful it was for the diaspora, Black diaspora all over the world to see. It moved me and I wanted to talk about. Now, in case you missed it, and I think you'd have to be sleeping under a rock to have missed that entire moment, but just in case, the three women who were on the podium that day, August 5th, 2024, as winners were Rebecca Andrade from Brazil, who was number one, Simone Biles, who took the number two spot, and Jordan Childs, who took the number three spot. The two Americans, then, while they were on the podium, when Rebecca was accepting her position as number one, bent down, bowed down to her as the first, celebrating her as like her queen in that moment. It was so beautiful and a fun moment and a really powerful moving moment of celebration. And I just want to talk about Rebecca Andrade for a moment. Her story is crazy and something that is worth celebrated on its own. So Rebecca comes from what they call a favela, a very, very poor, impoverished neighborhood in Brazil. And in order to become the gymnast she is today, she walks every day 2 hours to the gym she trained at with her brothers by her side to keep her safe, and then walked back training every day. She funded herself primarily to get to the Olympics, and she cleaned up. She came first in the competition, which is crazy. So such hard work and dedication. And Simone Biles, after the event, said, thank God Rebecca was there because she made it hard for me during the floor competition and I had to up my game to keep up with her. Like, what beautiful commentary from the GOAT, Simone Biles, who at 27 is knocking down all kinds of barriers and winning gold medals in by the dozens, or medals by the dozens, if not all gold, to celebrate Rebecca Andrade that way. And then to know that Rebecca Andrade still came on top, knowing the difference in the kind of financial support and just life circumstances between her and Simone Biles. Rebecca still came on top and is now hopefully a very famous athlete in Brazil. But her story so inspired me because the dedication it would take to get up, walk 2 hours, which is going to tire you out, train, walk back, and then still be good enough under all those circumstances to go to the Olympics and crush it is amazing. So we need to give Rebecca her flowers. So anyway, those were the three women on the podium. It was a beautiful moment, really powerful. The Black community celebrated in all kinds of ways. And then the unthinkable happened. There was a contest or an appeal about the bronze medal for Jordan Childs. And I think the U.S. actually appealed on her behalf first. She got on the podium, and then soon after, there was another appeal to remove it from her. And the U.S. ended up losing that appeal, so Jordan had to return her medal. And on August 16th, a Romanian gymnast was given the medal in her home country. So, very sad ending to the story, or slightly sad. I guess it doesn't take away from the whole thing, but again, for me, just seeing the fact that that scenario was possible, and even happened was so beautiful for me as an adult woman who does gymnastics. I can't imagine how impactful it was for little Black girls all around the world who are gymnasts, in any particular sphere of gymnastics, knowing that one day they can be in the podium. And if they happen to be there with other Black women, there will be a celebration, or a very high chance to be a celebration of a magical moment for themselves as well. So, really beautiful moment. And that really moved me. So, I think we should all remember August 5th for the awesomeness that happens, and kind of try and forget the not so great stuff that happened on the back end, because I think it was such a beautiful moment and an important one for us to recognize and celebrate in our community. So, now is time for what I'm going to call my summer roundup. And during this time, I'm going to talk to you about three things: community, current events, and books, one of my favorite things. So let's get into it. So, community. You've heard me talk about it here before. I have to say, this summer, I spent a lot of time at vendor markets, selling the Brighter Black Futures merch that you see me wearing every episode. And the sense of community that I have when I'm there, whether it's a busy market or a slow one, particularly with the other vendors, which are often other Black women who are very entrepreneurial, is wonderful and brings me so much joy all the time. So people say, like, but you're working. Even when you're not working, you're working because you're at this vendor market. And yes, it is work, but it's also so much fun to be in spaces, be surrounded by folks who look like me, and also then to reconnect and reconnect. Sometimes new connections, a lot of old connections that are growing and deepening every time we see each other with women, out there in the market, doing their entrepreneurial solopreneur thing. And I just want to let them know, if you're watching, any of you, how much I appreciate you, how kind you are, how good it feels to be in that space with all of you, and supporting each other and working and growing together. So that is something that all summer long, because I did many markets this summer. Hopefully some of you came out, and or will come out in the future. And the community, the connections, the bonds I am creating with other people in the Black community who are out here trying to serve our community and grow their businesses in this space is one of the best parts of this project I started, and I can't get enough of it. So thank you to all of you. You know who you are, who show up for me when we're at vendor market events to help and support and cheerlead, at the markets and behind the scenes. I so appreciate you. Now on to current events. So listen, there's only one current event we need to be talking about here, and that is the nomination, as Joe Biden stepped down, of let me say it, Kamala Harris, as the new candidate for the Democratic Party to run for the presidency. Listen, what to say? There's so much to say. Um, the fact that there is a woman up there with a chance again to win the office is crazy. The fact that it's a Black woman makes it doubly crazy, and the way she got the position is also crazy. Nobody saw that coming, and I think, as many people who are much smarter than I am have said, all praises to Joe Biden for being so strategic as he stepped down, and also having the grace, to do so. Something that must have been such a hard decision for him, I'm sure, but one that he knew was good for his country. And way to go for a politician to choose his country and serving the people of his country more so than his own ego. So let's give Joe Biden his flowers. We may not agree with everything he did, but or as president, or even before that as a politician, but this particular moment when he stepped down and gave, his nod to Kamala as a Democratic candidate, all the flowers. And we don't know much about Kamala. People say, as a politician, we're going to learn in coming days, but seeing the way her being the nominee has galvanize the Democratic Party, put new energy into it, re-engage people who were on the sidelines very ho-hum about it. But whatever happens, whether the Democratic candidate, Kamala Harris, wins, or the Republicans win, and I won't even mention the name of their nominee and candidate, This is a historic moment for so many communities that have been traditionally marginalized and for the United States itself. And the whole world is watching, and it's going to be a very interesting ride. So now it's time for my book recommendation. And I can't say enough about this book. I'm going to gush because I love this author. I didn't know I love this author, but now I do. And her storytelling is amazing. And that is one, Miss Carrie Washington. I was blowing through a lot of, really beachy type books for the summer, just trying to relax. And then I was like, let's pick up something a little more serious. And I remembered that Miss Carrie Washington had written a memoir called Thicker Than Water. It is a great book. And if you are an audiobook lover like me, you should totally check it out because she's a narrator and her performance is excellent. But the content, folks, her writing is actually super beautiful. Who knew? That's why I'm saying I love this author. I had no idea. So it's really exciting to read a book by her because she's such a private person and she's letting us into her life. So that already is made the book super interesting for me. And the way the book is crafted, the opening scene is alluding to a major moment in her life where she's going to be told something that she knows is a big thing, and she doesn't let you know what it is until the end of the book. And then there's all these juicy bits in the middle that are fabulous. She talks about her craft as an artist. Now, I'm not an actor. I have no intentions of being an actor, but hearing about how she does what she does and how passionate she is about it and why it's important to her, I think is inspiring for anybody who is a creative or anyone who's trying to create a business or bring anything new into the world. In fact, her passion for her craft and how she speaks about it is really inspiring. Also, what I found inspiring in the book as well is her growth and how she was evolving and what she was doing to grow herself and push through her fears, issues in her life. I think the stuff she talks about is relatable on so many levels, and I'm trying to talk about it without giving you too much detail. But like many of us, she's been through a lot. She has her own story, and hearing her journey of how she overcame things and also the things she's still struggling with this probably to this day, how she moved through it and got to a better place in handling it, the evolution of her relationship with her parents and becoming closer to them as she became an adult, and secrets that have been in their family, and again I'm not going to let you know what it is because I want you to read the book, were finally revealed, is really really beautiful. And again, her the crafting of the story, her telling of the story as an author, and the way she shared the details of her life in a way, for the first time ever with us, and let us into her life, is really beautiful. And I really really think if you are interested in learning and interested in biographies and memoirs, it's a great book for you. If you're interested in um, learning more about the creative process and how people create it, especially actors or artists, really great. And I think it's just really relatable book. It's for almost anybody. And of course, if you're a fan of the TV show Scandal or any of her work, you should read the book and support her. It's great. It's well worth a read. So I just want to recommend that book to you. And I think over the next few weeks, I'll be reading more biographies. So I'll probably come back with more book recos. But it definitely is the best book I read over the summer months, and I think you should totally check it out. All right, we're at the end of the show. Episode 1 of season 2 is in the bag. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. I'll have a guest with me next time for a brand new topic, of course. And again, thank you so much for watching and listening. I'm so glad to be back. I'm so glad you're here with me. I look forward to journeying through season 2 together. Till next time, take care. Bye.